Find out what's happening in the nation and around the world with ABC News updates at the top and bottom of every hour on 890 AM WLS. Jake Hartford on 890 AM WLS.
5:51, Awake with Jake. We have a special treat for you today. You know, every week we do the feature of something WLS wants you to know. We know you can't listen 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even though we'd like you to and become zombies. But you can't, so what we do, the staff every week picks out something that you may have missed, but you should hear because it's really important. And today we have two of them, one in this hour, one in the next hour. And this hour is something WLS wants you to know.
And now it's time for something WLS wants you to know.
When a person sneezes or coughs, the bacteria goes onto their blouse or onto their shirt. It stays there for several hours or several days. Here comes a TSA agent that takes the hand over the blouse or over the skirt or over the shirt or over the tie, and then the bacteria or the virus is on the glove. And then the next thing they do, the next person comes, they put their hands on your neck in your crotch area, and then you touch your neck or crotch area in some way, and you stick it in your mouth, and suddenly you have communicable or non-communicable diseases. You have colds, you have flus, you have venereal diseases.
That's today's Something WLS Wants You to Know, heard exclusively on Awake with Jake on WLS.
Yeah, that's Bill Cunningham, heard Sundays, 9 p.m. until midnight right here in WLS. I used to have that slot years and years ago, Sunday nights. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Of course, I didn't know all the touching stuff like he does. He's got the whole touching thing going for him there. Anyway, 591-8900. Lou in Round Lake. Good morning, Lou. Welcome to WLS.
Well, I'm confused. I'm listening to news reports and now have free trade with South Korea. It's going to create, they said, thousands of jobs. I wonder, what are we going to sell them? Fannie Mae candies we don't make? What about Frango mints? We don't make those.
We have Frango mints. Who makes the Frango mints?
What?
Who makes the Frango mints?
It was taken away and moved somewhere, I guess, Pennsylvania.
Well, it's still the United States.
Well, the problem I'm looking at is, what are we going to sell them? I got the good idea. All the dog pounds in Chicago can be emptied out and sold over there. Free trade.
Ooh.
You know, they like to eat dog there. I'm trying to figure out, when they have this free trade, what are we going to sell them, stuff we buy from China and sell it to Korea?
That's...
You know, I'm sitting on...
We'll make the money on the ships transporting it back and forth.
Well, that's what I'm just asking myself. You know, in one way, he wants to raise the taxes on all of us on January 1st. Next hand, he's giving it all away to another country again.
Well, see, wait.
Understand.
You made a mistake there. He's not raising taxes. The tax cuts, which were in effect for the past 8 years or so, those are going away. So he's not raising the taxes. They're just going to raise by themselves.
Well, I think we should start thinking about taking senior citizens and making Soylent Green and then exporting that to China for food. I got to work something out like that.
Thank you, Lou.
Bye.
I saw a very disturbing story this morning, and we're gonna try to track it down. You know, the economy, unemployment went up again to 9.8%, which is good. I know Joe Biden was saying yesterday it's bad, but 6 months ago when it went up, they said it was good. So I assume it's good. But I saw something about making your own toilet paper. And I got to tell you, folks, if that's what we're getting to, this biggest country the best country on earth, if we're getting to the point we're going to have to make our own toilet paper, I'm leaving. I'm going to Canada. They have a lot of trees up there. And by the way, earlier I mentioned Alan Shepard taking a golf shot up on the moon. He took two of them, in fact. With a left-handed with a 6-iron back years ago. Anyway, we have another storm report coming in. Did we get this from China? It's got that Chinese feel to it. The Awake with Jake storm alert system up and running. Jack, where are you calling from, Jack?
Clarence, Illinois.
Clarence, Illinois. Where's that in relation to Chicago?
Well, if you flew from Chicago to Paducah, Kentucky, you'd pass over my house.
Well, if I flew from Chicago to Paducah, I'd pass over a house of somebody living in Orland Park, too. It doesn't really tell me where, So you're way down, by Paducah?
No. I'm about 120 miles south of Chicago.
I don't figure the Paducah reference, but you know what? You're one of our reporters. All right, 120 miles south of Chicago. What's it like there, Jack?
About 2 inches on the ground. Winds out of the southeast, which is weird for around here. Drifts are only about 4 inches deep. I made the trek from the house out to my inner sanctum, my garage. I'm sitting here with my motorcycle, smoking a cigarette, drinking coffee, and listening to you.
So what you're saying is the wind is out of the south, which is very weird. Now, do you attribute this to global warming?
Nah, I just attribute it to the winds out of the wrong dang direction. If it was out of the west, I'd have a 4-foot drift across my driveway.
All right. Thank you, Jack and Clarence. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That's our weatherman in Clarence. As you heard, if the wind was out of a different direction, he'd have 4-inch drifts across his driveway. God. We were talking about the tax cut a second ago. And you've heard them say, how are we going to pay for these things? We have to pay for them. It's going to cost us $3 trillion over 10 years. Have you ever thought of the reverse? How are we paying for them now? And I'm not talking about, they say the top rate, which is 35, is going to go up to 39.6, or the other one is 33 to 36, or 10 will stay at 10, or 15 at 15. But how are we paying to get them at 10? What is that costing us? That's a 90% tax cut. How are we paying for those things? I figured it out. As close as I can come, it's costing us, for everybody's tax cut, even the poor people at 10%, it's costing us $30 trillion over 10 years. How are we paying for that? No, you never hear those numbers, do you? Oh, well, yeah, if we're going to have to raise it 2%, that's going to cost us well, yeah, it's costing us right now. They're over $30 trillion. And is $30 trillion accurate? I don't know. I just kind of made that number up because I started actually figuring it out by the percentages, and then at some point I figured, you know what, it doesn't really matter. They make those numbers up anyway in Washington. Anyway, when we come back, we will continue with our Awake with Jake Storm Alert system. It is snowing out there. It is the storm of the century so far this year. That's right. We have a text at 68683. Just came in from 815. It says, I quote, "It's snowing," unquote. That's what it says. Back with a major show announcement and more right here in Awake with Jake on WLS.
Awake with Jake. Jake Hartford, 890 AM, WLS.